Today I'm taking a look at the self-healing cutting mat. The first thing about it, we can see this actually does ship flat, so a lot of them they are actually curled up into a little roll and then shoved into a box. This is a much better way to ship it because you do not actually want to roll these mats up. If you roll them up, they can start to take that shape. It can throw off the measurements. It's just not a good idea. You want to keep these things as flat as possible. Now for me, it wasn't perfectly flat just because this is semi-flexible and so is the cardboard, so as it gets moved around, it's not going to be perfectly flat, but it is still much better than having this kind of up into a core. So very nice texture material. If you ever felt one of these before, it does have kind of a grip to it, which is great, so that the material isn't going to move around quite as much. Double-sided, so we got a black side on this side, very high contrast, very easy to see. And we can flip that over, and we have our green and yellow side. It is graduated in inches as well as half inches here in the center, and we can see that measurement goes all the way to 46 inches, so there's a little wider than 46 inches in total. We are looking at about 47 and a little bit over an eighth, be 3/16. We do have those measurements on all four sides, so it doesn't matter which side we're looking at, we're still going to be able to measure. On the top it goes up to 33 inches, and the total height, looking at about 35 inches and 3/8. You can't see these lines going across, so those are actually for different angle of measurements. If we look closely, you can kind of read right here, so between basically any straight line going across and this line, it is 45 degrees. For any mark going up following this line, it is going to be 30 degrees. And of course, we got our 90-degree square. It is also labeled right here 1 inch, so these lines are running parallel 1 inch from each other, so we can cut out that strip at an angle. We do have measurements down to the eighth going up as well as to the side if we are in the center. So if we want to cut 4 and 1/8 inches here, we can just line up our mark right there, and we'll know we're going to be perfectly parallel there. This is marked out as 2 inches, so these lines are also running parallel 2 inches apart, and this is also marked 90 degrees from here to here, which is natural because if this is running 45 and this is running 45, then that total measurement should be 90 right there. So from here to here is 90, 90, 90, and 90. So very nice that we got all those measurements as well as basically a protractor already built into the whole thing. It does say in the top corner that is in inches, so there's no confusing this, so you probably shouldn't be able to. Just in case maybe you're measuring these out as centimeters, you don't want to get that confused. If we flip it over to the other side, you can see up there that says centimeters. So each line from side to side is 1 centimeter. They are also marked out on the bottom as well as every side, so we know exactly where we are no matter which edge we're looking at. This goes to 119 centimeters and up to 99 centimeters tall. We do also have those lines going across. So the measurements for those are 30 degrees, 45 degrees, and 60 degrees. So very common measurements, you'll be able to easily plot them out with that. I do want to make sure that these lines are in fact correct, because just because it says it is doesn't mean that it actually is, and that is pretty darn close. Maybe 1 millimeter off at 119 centimeters, so that is definitely close enough for anything that I'm doing. And if we go from the top to the bottom, yeah, that is right on the money from the top to the bottom. Go back to the inches, and that is also perfectly on, so that is excellent. Now, the next thing I want to find out is if I have this edge lined up straight with another straight edge, are these lines actually going to be perfectly lined up with this edge? Yeah, that looks pretty darn straight to me. Let's check the other dimension. That looks good, and that looks good. Good deal. So I got a rag. Let's just go ahead and see how that cuts. I'm going to be using this with a roller blade. Anytime you do this, you want to make sure that you are using a mat like this, because if you don't, then you're going to dull out your blade. Perfect, super easy. I didn't even have to put much pressure on this. I probably shouldn't have even put as much as I did. Having that soft backing on here is also going to help for the blade to go into the material so that you're actually cutting the material rather than just running across the top. Oh yeah. This is unreasonably good. No scratches on here yet. So it is a self-healing mat. It's not going to be like perfectly self-healing. It's not like Wolverine or anything like that. Cool. I got a pretty good eye for this, but I cannot see or feel anything on here. So this seems like a pretty high quality mat. Now if you look at the edges, we can see the layers on there. So this does have a stiffer core on the inside. So that's going to help to make sure that we do not accidentally press too far through and penetrate all the way through. It's also going to provide some rigidity for the mat. So just to be sure, I want to do the same thing on the other side. Yeah. Got a couple on the edges. The edges are a little thicker on these rags, but we got that. And a little fluff on here. I cannot see or feel any edges on here. So overall, if you need a large, like a very large self-healing cutting mat, you're gonna need a pretty large desk, something like this, to actually put this thing on. But if you got one and you have a use for something like this, then this mat is gonna be an excellent choice.